Today, the English football system is getting a bit of a makeover. Yes, we're still gonna have the 4 divisions of English football: Premier League, Championship, League 1, and League 2, but the clubs that are participating in each division, well, they are reversed. So League 2 will consist of the current 20 Premier League clubs and the top 4 Championship clubs. League 1 will be the top 4 League 1 clubs plus the 20 bottom Championship clubs. The Championship will be the current top 4 League 2 sides and the bottom 20 League 1 sides, and the Premier League will be the current bottom 20 League 2 sides. So the entire English football system is now ranked worst to best. The worst clubs are in the Premier League, the best clubs are in League 2. And for many seasons, my friends, we will track the winners of the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. We will also take a look at the European competitions, and it will be very interesting to see if any of the League 2 sides that are starting out in the Premier League can keep their place in the Prem, or if all the current Premier League clubs that are starting out in League 2 can just climb back up after a few seasons and reclaim their dominance at the top of the food chain. Now, before we begin this journey, I just want to quickly say I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day, and thank you for the support as always. Let's go. So this is what League 2 looks like at the start of the season. As you can see, it is all Premier League clubs and the top 4 current Championship sides in Burnley, Leeds United, Sheffield United, and Sunderland. This is what League 1 looks like. It consists of the 20 bottom Championship clubs and the top 4 League 1 sides, so clubs like Birmingham, Wickham, they all stayed in the same division. This is your Championship table, the top 4 League 2 clubs and the bottom 20 League 1 clubs. And finally, our Premier League table at the start of Season 1. Accrington, Barrow, Bradford City, Bromley, Carlisle United, Cheltenham Town, Chesterfield, Colchester, Doncaster, Fleetwood Town, Gillingham, Grimsby, Harrogate Town, MK Dons, Morecambe, Newport County, Notts County, Salford City, Swindon Town, and Tranmere Rovers, the current bottom 20 League 2 clubs. And at the end of Season 1, one of these clubs will win the Premier League and several will qualify for Europe. Let's go to the end of Season 1. All right, my friends, Season 1 is in the books. We are starting in League 2. Who's getting promoted up to League 1? Manchester City is going up, Liverpool is going up, and so is Newcastle United. And one of Arsenal, Man United, Villa, or Spurs will also be there. Newcastle, what a season. 103 points. Leaving League 1 and going up to the Championship. The top 2 automatically, it is Luton Town and Norwich City. And then Birmingham City is in the playoffs. Watford, Preston, or Middlesbrough. Unfortunately, Plymouth Argyle, Derby County, Wickham, and Portsmouth, they are going into League 2 to play with the rest of the Premier League clubs. In the Championship, going up to the Premier League after Season 1, automatically Bolton and Charlton Athletic and one of Rotherham, Lincoln City, Blackpool, or Barnsley. That's the rest of the Championship table. Unfortunately, League 1 awaits for Stockport County, Shrewsbury, and Crawley Town next season. And our first Premier League winner, Season 1, it goes to Notts County. What a season. 2014 and 4 on 74 points, 10 points clear of Colchester. Colchester will be playing in the Champions League. Accrington Stanley in 3rd, Bradford City in 4th, Salford City in 5th, Chesterfield in 6th, Fleetwood Town in 7th, and Tranmere Rovers rounded off the top 8. This is the rest of the table. Harrogate Town, Newport County, and Morecambe, they are all getting relegated and will probably never see Premier League football again. Welcome to the Championship. The FA Cup semi-finals in Season 1. Blackburn versus Liverpool, and Blackburn beat Liverpool going to the FA Cup final. Man United versus Birmingham City. Man United also went to the FA Cup final, so it was Blackburn versus Man United, and it went to Manchester United in a 6-goal thriller, 4-2 over Blackburn. And the Carabao Cup, a very unlikely winner, a very unlikely final, I would say. Palace versus Everton, and Everton won the Carabao Cup, guys. So in Season 2, we're gonna have a bunch of random clubs playing European football. The end of Season 2, and in League 2, Arsenal and Manchester United and Aston Villa are all actually getting automatic promotion into League 1, with one of Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Brighton, or the Carabao Cup winning Everton. In League 1, going up to the Championship in the second season, Man City and Liverpool are getting back-to-back promotions, and maybe Newcastle as well. They finished in 3rd in the playoffs. Maybe Spurs. 5th is Preston, and Birmingham City is in 6th. But Wrexham, Shrewsbury, Crawley Town, and Sheffield Wednesday, they're all getting relegated to League 2. From the Championship going up to the Premier League, guys. Luton Town, and Middlesbrough. Yes, dominating seasons, and maybe Peterborough, Norwich, Rotherham, or Lincoln City. This is the rest of the championship table going down. There goes Port Vale, there goes Walsall, and there goes Crewe. And our Season 2 Premier League winners, my friends, a very close table, but it went to MK Dons on 70 points. Tranmere right behind them, Fleetwood in third, Notts County after winning the Prem in Season 1, they dropped to 4th, Swindon Town in 5th, Gillingham in 6th, Charlton Athletic in 7th, and Bolton in 8th. This is the rest of the table. End of the road for Cheltenham Town, Colchester, and Barrow. Colchester, man, they're playing Champions League football and they got relegated. Our Season 2 FA Cup semi-finals, Luton Town versus Spurs. Luton Town beat Spurs to get to the FA Cup final, and the other one was Aston Villa versus Fleetwood Town. Fleetwood Town went to the semis, they lost to Villa, so it was Luton versus Villa, and Luton wins the FA Cup on penalties over Villa. This is the greatest video we've ever done, guys. Luton Town, FA Cup winners. But Aston Villa had a pretty good season. They didn't win the FA Cup, but they managed to win the Carabao Cup 6-3. What a score. 9 goals over Brighton. Apparently, no one was playing defense in the Carabao Cup final. All right, how did our clubs do in the Champions League in Season 2? Colchester was playing some UCL football. They managed to get a draw, but that's all they got. 1 point. They finished 36th. We also had Notts County in there. They went winless as well. 0-4-4 in 33rd. Above Dinamo Zagreb and Athens. That's incredible, yes. While Accrington Stanley actually finished in a playoff spot in the UCL after the league phase. They finished in 20th. 2-3-3 on 9 points. But then they lost in the playoff to Roma 4-2 on aggregate. Actually still very impressive. And Real Madrid won the UCL 3-2 over Barca. We had 2 clubs in the Europa League in Salford City and Bradford City. Unfortunately, both didn't make it out. They finished 31st and 32nd. Still above a few teams like Young Boys from Switzerland, though. And AC Milan won the Europa League over their Italian friends in Atalanta. And finally, the Conference League in Season 2. One club, it was Everton, because they won the Carabao Cup. They finished in a playoff in 10th place. Now, they beat St. Gallen 4-2 on aggregate in the playoff to advance to the round of 16 of the Conference League, where they faced the German side Borussia Mönchengladbach, but they lost 3-2 on aggregate. And Napoli went on to win the Conference League 4-1 over Panathinaikos. Love to see these random teams participating in European football. Off to Season 3 we go. The end of Season 3, Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Brighton are all going up to League 1, guys, and one of Wolves, Leeds, Everton, and West Ham. Everton won the Carabao Cup. Everton played in the Conference League, but still can't get out of League 2. Maybe they can this season. From League 1 going up to the Championship, my friends, Manchester United and Arsenal are going up once again. One of Spurs, Chelsea, Aston Villa, or Birmingham City. Bye-bye to Stockport, Port Vale, Walsall, and Crewe. They are down in League 2. Well, here we go. From the Championship to the Premier League, Liverpool and Manchester City are getting promoted. One of Newcastle, Norwich, Barnsley, or Peterborough will also go up. The rest of the Championship table, this is what it looks like. And Morecambe, Cheltenham Town, and Mansfield Town are going back down to League 1. And now the Premier League winner in Season 3, it was Middlesbrough. Yes, Middlesbrough. They came up to the Prem. They won the Prem, but Notts County finished in 2nd, outlasting Luton Town. MK Dons in 4th, Chesterfield in 5th, Bradford City in 6th, Lincoln City in 7th, Carlisle United in 8th. The rest of the table looks like this. Swindon Town, Tranmere Rovers, and Accrington Stanley. That's the end of their journey in the Prem. But hey, Notts County and MK Dons and Chesterfield and Bradford City, they're all staying competitive. Your FA Cup semi-finals in Season 3, Newcastle versus Leicester, Norwich versus Wolves. The final, it became Newcastle versus Norwich. Another thriller. 7 goals, man. 4-3 for Newcastle United. And your Season 3 Carabao Cup semi-finals, Brentford versus Chelsea and Man City versus Stoke City. Random kid today is Stoke City. They went to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They lost it. The final, it was Man City versus Chelsea, and Chelsea won it. So not a single trophy for Manchester City in 3 seasons points now. Couple of clubs that participated in the UCL in Season 3, MK Dons being one of them. They finished 32nd, only on 4 points, but still above Celtic and Copenhagen. We also had Tranmere Rovers in the competition. They finished in 24th, actually, winning 2 matches on 9 points. But Tranmere got absolutely smashed by Bayern in the playoff, 5-1 on aggregate. And the winner, it was Napoli, 2-1 over Real Madrid. Europa League, Fleetwood Town participated in the Europa League. They lost every single match on 0 points. Notts County also participated. Unfortunately, they finished in 32nd. And we had one more club in Luton Town. They finished in a playoff, 2-3-3 on 9 points. But once again in the playoffs, the English club fell short, 3-2 on aggregate to Stuttgart. And Juventus went to win the Europa League 3-2 over PSV. And one participant in the Conference League, Aston Villa, of course, by winning the Carabao Cup. You think they're probably one of the favorites to win this competition. They finished in a playoff in 13th on 10 points. Then they beat Başakşehir 2-2 on aggregate, 4-1 on penalties to advance to the round of 16. And they beat Panathinaikos in the round of 16 to get to the quarterfinal. They absolutely smashed Shakhtar Donetsk in the quarterfinals, 7-1 on aggregate. But then they lost to Atalanta in the semifinals, 3-2 on aggregate, who were the eventual winners, 2-1 over Union Berlin. But you gotta respect the pretty decent run by Villa in the Conference League. Season 4 awaits us. Remember, Man City, they're back in the Premier League. Let's see what happened in Season 4 in League 2. Leicester City, West Ham, and Forest are all automatically going up, with Wolves, Brentford, Ipswich Town, and Plymouth Argyle right on the doorstep in the playoff. Really unsure how Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, and Everton are still down there, while Sheffield Wednesday, they finished in 19th. Brighton and Aston Villa from League 1 are going up to the Championship in Season 4, and Chelsea, they're still down in League 1. Yes, they might get promoted this season though. Crystal Palace in 4th, Burnley, and maybe Bristol City as well. Birmingham City dropped down to 10th. Leeds United finished in 11th while getting relegated. There goes Cheltenham Town, there goes Morecambe, and there goes Mansfield Town. They're back down into League 2, guys. From the Championship to the Premier League, more big boy sides in Spurs and Arsenal are getting automatic promotion. Norwich City in 3rd, finishing above Manchester United. Okay, both in the playoff. Barnsley might go up, or maybe Peterborough. The rest of the Championship table looks like this. Unfortunately, Northampton Town, Tranmere Rovers, and Cambridge United are all going down to League 1. And your Season 4 Premier League winner, was there a surprise? Probably not. It is Manchester City on 91 points. Liverpool in 2nd. 3rd went to Newcastle. Middlesbrough in 4th. Luton Town in 5th. Bolton, MK Dons, and Blackpool rounded off the top 8. That's the rest of the table. Nice to see Fleetwood Town and Notts County still being kind of relevant. Bradford City still staying up pretty comfortably, while Charlton Athletic getting relegated. A little bit of a surprise. Chesterfield and Bromley. The semifinals of the FA Cup in Season 4, Peterborough went to the semifinals. They lost to Liverpool on penalties. So did Cambridge United, but they lost to Manchester City, and Man City did the double. Your Season 4 Carabao Cup semifinals, Sheffield United versus Charlton Athletic, 6-1 on aggregate for Sheffield United. Spurs versus Notts County, 6-2 on aggregate for Spurs. Spurs won it 2-1 over Sheffield. In the Champions League, we only had one club, which was Middlesbrough, and they did pretty decent, finishing in 14th in a playoff. Unfortunately, they lost 3-1 on aggregate to Benfica in the playoff, guys, and got eliminated. And the final, it was RC Lens, surprising, versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich won the UCL. Europa League had several clubs though. Notts County participated in Europe once again, and once again, they were not very successful, finishing in 31st. Luton Town, also not very successful, finishing in 26th, not making it out. And there was another team, which was Newcastle United. And Newcastle United, they went undefeated in the Europa League, finishing in 3rd, 5-3-0 on 18 points. They beat Inter Milan on penalties in the round of 16, 4-4 on aggregate, 10-9 on pens. And they beat Feyenoord in the quarterfinals of the Europa League, 4-2 on aggregate, advancing to the last 4. But that was the end of the run for Newcastle United in the Europa League, losing 2-1 to Braga, who went to the final and beat Monaco to claim the Europa League trophy. We had one club in the Conference League. It was Chelsea, who won the Carabao Cup. They finished 2nd, right behind AZ Alkmaar in the league phase. They won the Conference League. We had an English club win a European title in Season 4. Off to Season 5 we go, and this is where things are going to start getting very, very interesting to see if some of the lower clubs that started in the Premier League can survive with all the big boys that are getting back in there. The end of season 5 in League 2, Bournemouth are crowned champions along with Ipswich Town and Southampton. All three are getting automatic promotion, and one of Sheffield United, Fulham, Wolves, or Sunderland, who I am controlling in this video because I gotta control one team to make this happen. Really not too sure what to think of Everton because they won a trophy, they won the Carabao Cup, but they still can't get out of League 2. They're in 10th place, and Sheffield Wednesday's still down there. From League 1 to the Championship, Forest and Palace are going automatically up, and one of Leeds, Bristol City, Leicester, or Coventry. Watford finished in 8th, West Ham in 12th, Stoke City is down there, West Brom is down there. Unfortunately, Cambridge, Tranmere, and Northampton, they're all go back down to League 2. From the Championship to the Premier League, Brighton and Aston Villa dominating campaigns. Chelsea finished in 3rd on 99. They're in a playoff. Maybe they will go up. Norwich, Peterborough, or Wigan Athletic could also go up. The rest of the table looks like this. Not too bad seeing Bromley in 8th, staying up in the Championship. Unfortunately, Swindon, Exeter City, and Harrogate Town, they're not staying in the Championship. And our Season 5 Premier League winner, Manchester United. 2nd place, Manchester City. Newcastle in 3rd, Spurs in 4th, Arsenal in 5th, Liverpool in 6th, Middlesbrough in 7th, Bolton rounded off the top 8, Blackpool staying up. They finished pretty decent in 9th. Bradford City still staying up as well. So is Fleetwood, so is Notts County. Unfortunately, Notts County has dropped down a little bit. Salford City, Carlisle United, and Lincoln City, though, their Premier League journey has come to an end. Your Season 5 FA Cup semi-finals, Man United versus Newcastle. Man United won on penalties. They're going to the final. Gillingham went to the semi-final of the FA Cup, and so did Birmingham City, and Birmingham City beat Gillingham, going to the final, but they lost to Manchester United 2-1. Man United did the double in Season 5. And the Carabao Cup, well, it went to Manchester City. Both Manchester clubs won something in Season 5. Man City beat Newcastle 1-0. The Champions League had Liverpool in it. They finished in 25th, not even getting out of the league phase, guys. Very, very surprising. Man City also was in the Champions League. They finished in 15th in a playoff. Now, City did beat Stade Rennais in the playoff to get to the round of 16, 5-1 on aggregate, but they lost to Leipzig in the round of 16, getting eliminated. And then the final, it was Bayern versus AC Milan, and Bayern Munich won the UCL. The Europa League in Season 5 had 2 English clubs in Newcastle United and Chelsea, and they both achieved really high finishes. Newcastle in 3rd and Chelsea in 4th. In the round of 16, Chelsea beat Lille 5-1 on aggregate, advancing to the quarterfinals, but Newcastle lost to Napoli. So only Chelsea was left, and in the quarterfinals, Napoli eliminated yet another Premier League club in Chelsea 3-1. But Napoli didn't make it to the final. It was Nice versus Atletico Madrid, and Nice upset Atletico Madrid, winning the Europa League. In the Conference League, it was only one club. It was Spurs, and they achieved a very high finish in the league phase, 2nd place. They barely squeaked by Karabag in the round of 16, 3-2. And then in the quarterfinals, they lost to Lazio 3-2 on aggregate. But the club that beat Spurs and Lazio didn't make the final, guys. It was Lens versus Villarreal, and RC Lens won the Conference League. So we had a French Europa League winner in Nice and a French Conference League winner in Lens. Season 6 awaits us. The end of Season 6, my friends, Blackburn, Sheffield United, and Wolves finally are getting out of League 2, and one of Sunderland, Derby, Wickham, or Stockport. Yes, Everton is still somehow down there in League 2. They finished in 9th place. I really don't know what's happening over there. From League 1 going up to the Championship, Burnley and Coventry City, and one of Fulham, Brentford, Birmingham, or Bournemouth. I don't know how many times Birmingham has been in a playoff spot. Maybe this time they can finally get out. West Ham and Leicester City, they didn't even make promotion. Yeah, they're still staying in League 1. Same with Southampton, same with Ipswich Town. There goes Swindon, Harrogate, and Exeter City, though, going back down to League 2. From the Championship going up to the Premier League, Norwich City and Leeds United, and one of Crystal Palace, Lincoln City, Nottingham Forest, or Bromley. Okay, Bromley in a Championship playoff trying to go back up to the Premier League. Unfortunately, that's it for Colchester, AFC Wimbledon, and Newport County in the Championship. And your Season 6 Premier League winner, it is Arsenal, 5 points over Chelsea. Man City, Newcastle in 4th, Luton Town, a nice 5th place finish, okay, above Man United and Spurs, who finished 8th and 9th. Middlesbrough is there. Bolton is surviving. Notts County is surviving. Gillingham, MK Dons, and Bradford Bradford City, and Doncaster. They're all surviving. Unfortunately, Grimsby Town, Fleetwood Town, and Blackpool, they did not survive. Your Season 6 FA Cup semi-finals. Sunderland versus Manchester City. Okay. And then MK Dons versus Norwich. Okay. Man City versus Norwich. And Norwich City beat Man City, and Norwich City won the FA Cup, guys. And your Season 6 Carabao Cup semi-finals. Middlesbrough versus Ipswich Town. Middlesbrough beat Ipswich Town on penalties. And Crystal Palace versus Newcastle United. 5-1 on aggregate for Newcastle. Middlesbrough versus Newcastle, and Newcastle beat them 2-1. In the Champions League, we had several teams in Season 6. Man United, they finished in 14th in a playoff. Newcastle United finished in 10th in a playoff. And Man City got into the top 8. Newcastle got out of the playoff by beating Anderlecht 4-2 on aggregate. Man United also got out of the playoff into the round of 16 by beating Benfica 3-1 on aggregate. In the round of 16, Man City beat Napoli 5-2, while Manchester United got eliminated 3-1 on aggregate to Real Madrid. But Newcastle also advanced just like City. They beat Marseille 5-3 on aggregate. In the quarterfinals, Newcastle was eliminated by Leipzig 4-0, and Man City was eliminated by Porto 4-2 on aggregate. And your UCL winner, it was Leipzig, a German side, beating Barca. The UCL in the last 3 seasons have all been won by a German club. Bayern Munich twice in a row, and now Leipzig. 2 Premier League clubs in the Europa League in Season 6. Arsenal finishing in 21st in a playoff, so they advanced, and then Spurs finished in 5th. Arsenal beat AZ Alkmaar in the playoff to get to the round of 16, while Spurs lost to Bologna in the round of 16 2-1. But Arsenal beat Trabzonspor to advance to the quarterfinals. Then they beat Sevilla in the quarterfinals, and they beat Fenerbahce in the semifinals. But they lost to Borussia Dortmund in the final, yet another German club with a trophy. And finally, the Conference League. The only club that participated from the Prem was Liverpool. They finished in 6th. They absolutely hammered Rosenborg 5-1 on aggregate in the round of 16, advancing to the quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, they beat Royal Union Saint-Gilloise 5-1 on aggregate, no competition, advancing to the semifinals. In the semifinals, they beat Lille, which was closer, but still beat them 5-3 on aggregate. They went to the final, but they lost to Roma 3-1. Let's go to the end of Season 7. I absolutely love that we got clubs like Notts County, Bradford City, Gillingham, and even Doncaster Rovers surviving in the Premier League. The end of Season 7, and oh my goodness, Everton is finally getting promoted. 7 seasons later, guys. Everton, Oxford United, and Huddersfield are all going back up to League 1. Okay, and then one of Exeter City, Crewe Alexandra, Portsmouth, or Derby. To be fair, Everton has a long way to go still. While from League 1 going up to the Championship, it is Bournemouth and Birmingham City, with Stoke City, Bristol City, West Ham, or Watford being another lucky club. Leicester, Sheffield United, and Ipswich are still down in League 1. Wolves are down there as well. Unfortunately, guys, Southampton getting relegated down to League 2 with Wimbledon, Colchester, and Newport County. Southampton, what has happened to you guys? In the Championship going up to the Premier League, and this is what we were looking for, I think. Like, this is the beauty of these types of videos, because it is Fleetwood Town and Blackpool going back up to the Premier League, guys. Yeah, they've established themselves, and one of 4 is Brentford, Burnley, or Lincoln City. Bromley is in 7th. I mean, this is the rest of the table of the Championship. Leyton Orient, Chesterfield, and Salford City are all getting relegated. And your Season 7 Premier League winner, it is Liverpool, 1 point over Arsenal, with Spurs in 3rd, Man United in 4th, Chelsea in 5th, Newcastle, Man City, Aston Villa, Middlesbrough. Nice top 10 finish. They've also established themselves. There is the rest. Bolton, Notts County, and Bradford City, and Norwich, who got promoted, are all still staying up. Unfortunately, Doncaster, Gillingham, and MK Dons, they've met their match, guys. That's the end of the road for them. Your Season 7 FA Cup semi-finals, Chelsea versus Liverpool and Brentford versus Newcastle United, with Chelsea and Brentford going to the final, and Brentford beating Chelsea on penalties to win the FA Cup, guys. We got Brentford winning the FA Cup before GTA 6. But the Carabao Cup final, it was a big boy side versus a big boy side. It was Man City versus Chelsea, and Man City won another trophy. In the Champions League, Chelsea and Manchester City participated, finishing in 20th and 21st, qualifying for the playoffs. This is the rest of the table. City got eliminated by Lyon in the playoffs, but Chelsea beat Lille to get to the round of 16. But then they lost to Porto in the round of 16 on penalties. And Real Madrid were crowned the winners over Bayer Leverkusen. In the Europa League, remember, Norwich City played in Europe because they won the FA Cup. Unfortunately, they finished in 34th. They did not progress. Luton Town also participated, finishing in 32nd, also not progressing. But there was one more club that did progress, and that club was Newcastle United, finishing in 4th. They beat RB Salzburg in the round of 16. Then they beat Stuttgart on penalties in the quarterfinals, advancing to the semifinals. They beat Wolfsburg in the semifinals 4-2 on aggregate. And then Newcastle United won the Europa League by beating Juventus. Now, the Conference League only had one club, and it was Brighton, who finished in 15th in a playoff. A pretty decent campaign. They hammered SCR Altok in the playoff 5-1 on aggregate, advancing to the round of 16. In the round of 16, they beat Vitoria 5-2 on aggregate to advance to the quarterfinals. But in the quarterfinals, they had to face Marseille. They lost 5-1 on aggregate. The final, Lazio versus Servette, and Servette won the Conference League. Servette from the Swiss Super League. Let's go and do one more season, season 8. All right, the end of season 8. Southampton got relegated. They're getting promoted up to League 1. Sheffield Wednesday is also going back, and so is Derby County, and one of Exeter, Crewe, Wickham, or Plymouth. So if we take a look at League 2 after 8 seasons, more or less it looks pretty the same as it does now. Except for Wrexham, if there was a National League here, they would be in the National League. They won 5 matches out of 46 in season 8 in League 2. 37 points. That is so bad. League 1 going up to the Championship. It is Stoke and Leicester, and one of Watford, Millwall, Fulham, maybe, and Sheffield United, maybe. While Everton finished in 9th, Wolves in 12th, Ipswich Town in 14th. They never really climbed back up, did they? No. West Brom got relegated. West Brom in League 2. Oh, West Brom. Portsmouth as well. Salford City and Chesterfield too. In the Championship, going up to the Premier League, Burnley and West Ham, and one of Reading, MK Dons, Birmingham City, or Brentford. Man, MK Dons became a pretty decent side. Remember, they got relegated a few seasons ago. They might go back up. This is the rest of the Championship table. Bournemouth survived in 16th. Lincoln City also survived. Unfortunately, Barrow, Accrington, Stanley, and Burton Albion did not. And your season 8 Premier League winners, Manchester United on 85 points, with Spurs, Chelsea, Man City there as well. Liverpool rounded off the top 5. Newcastle, Villa, and Arsenal in 8th. Leeds in 9th place. Middlesbrough, very, very nice campaign by Middlesbrough. They became a Premier League side. Blackpool, Luton Town, Fleetwood Town stayed up. 16th place. Forest also stayed up. Unfortunately, Bolton, Bradford City, and Notts County didn't in season 8. But man, did those clubs have a very, very good run. The FA Cup in season 8, it went to Manchester City over Leeds, guys. Luton Town and Blackburn went to the semi-finals. They both lost. And the Carabao Cup, it went to Chelsea over Manchester City. The semi-finals, it was Chelsea over Newcastle, and Man City beat Aston Villa. In the Champions League, we had Spurs that finished in 27th, so they missed out completely. Then we also had Arsenal, who finished in 12th. They finished in a playoff. We also had Liverpool, who finished in the top 8, and Newcastle also finished in the top 8. Arsenal lost in the Champions League playoffs to Lyon 4-2 on aggregate. Newcastle beat PSG in the round of 16 5-2 on aggregate, and Liverpool beat Juventus 3-2 on aggregate. The quarterfinals, it was a bad draw. It was Newcastle versus Liverpool. Newcastle beat Liverpool to get to the semi-finals, but then they lost to AC Milan in the semi-finals. And the final was an all-Italian final. It was a Milan final. Inter Milan versus AC Milan, and AC Milan won it. In the Europa League, remember, we had Brentford playing in the Europa League because they won the FA Cup. Well, they finished in 27th. They didn't even get out of the league phase. And we also had one more club, which was Manchester United. Now, Manchester United did get out, and they finished in 6th. They beat the Hungarian side Ferencváros in the round of 16, advancing to the quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, they lost to the French side Nice, though, getting eliminated. The semifinals, it was Salzburg versus Roma and Nice versus Osasuna. Okay, okay? Roma versus Nice, 5-3 on penalties for Roma. And the Conference League, guys, only Manchester City. They finished in 15th, qualifying for the playoffs. Now, they did beat HJK Helsinki from Finland 4-3 on aggregate to get to the round of 16, but then they lost to Atalanta 6-4 on aggregate in the round of 16. Atalanta went all the way to the final. Atalanta won the Conference League over Real Sociedad. So there we have it, guys. If the English football system was in a completely reversed order, let me know down in the comments which team disappointed you the most and which team impressed you the most. Was it someone like a Norwich City who won the FA Cup and climbed all the way up to the Premier League? Maybe someone like a Fleetwood Town or a Blackpool, maybe a Notts County. How about someone like a Luton Town who also won the FA Cup and established themselves as the Premier League side? Or maybe a Middlesbrough who in season 3 were Premier League winners and in season 8 were still in the Premier League. Take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of each other. Stay happy, stay healthy. I hope you found this vid enjoyable, and if you have any other cool ideas, please comment them down below, and if it's a good idea, we'll make sure to do it. Peace, 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 peace. I love you as always. Peace.